I do believe in always believe survivors or always trust survivors. However, a random swarm of strangers with a parasocial relationship to some famous person claiming that some famous person is a predator is not the same as a specific person claiming that a specific person harmed them and was predatory to them. These two things are not the same. And oftentimes these people that get the smear campaign of a bunch of random people on Reddit saying, "Oh, this person is a predator," oftentimes the person being accused of being a predator in that specific scenario of the internet just choosing whatever person to hate on, oftentimes that person is actually the survivor. So as someone who does believe we should trust survivors, even if it's a famous person, if that person that they're accusing of being a predator is actually a survivor, I'm always going to trust that person, whether or not they're a popular figure, over random people with a parasocial relationship on the internet, on sites like YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, whatever. Because I've seen this happen so many times. I have seen someone who is themselves a CSA survivor or a survivor of some other form of predatory abuse who they blow up on the internet, right? And then the internet decides to try and take them down by accusing that person of being a predator. And I don't believe it. The reason I don't believe it is, to me, it seems no different to the character Vox from Has Been Hotel, who just makes Charlie in the cartoon say something that he can then use to make her look bad to the public perception, right? It's fabricated. It's fake. It is a made up drama. And I've seen these exact same tactics used on people who I genuinely don't think are what the media portrayal of them is pointing them is making them out to be. And I see it no different at all to when in the 90s and 80s they had these, like, or they still really have them, but like magazines that are like drama magazines where it's like you have the paparazzi or whatever who targets some person who's become famous and makes up a bunch of stuff about them and just promotes it for the drama to make money off of that person's name or to get views, right? And so I am always immediately skeptical when, instead of it being a specific person claiming that a specific person hurt them, it is instead a bunch of random people online. I don't trust that, because in that case, a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, it's actually the person who's being targeted by the people cyber harassing them who is the survivor in that scenario. So always trust survivors, to me, means defending them even if they're famous. To me, means defending them even if the internet has decided to go on a witch hunt against that person. Because I think it's absolutely disgusting that people feel comfortable online telling someone they've never met that they should die and that they're a predator or they're a PDF or whatever else when they've never even had a conversation with that person. They've only ever seen that person on a screen. To me, that is disgusting. The fact that that is just like normalized online is absolutely disgusting. And actually, that is predatory. That is absolutely predatory for people who have never even met someone to be claiming they're all these different things or whatever when you've never even spoken to them. You're only seeing them through a screen. So how the hell do you know? How do you know when you've only been told it by other people? When it's not a specific person saying a specific thing about someone, but it's just a bunch of random people online. How do you know? You don't. That's the problem. This is the problem. And this is why I'm always going to defend people if it's that kind of a thing, because you can't know and people do lie. And that's when I see it as a lie. I see it as a lie when it's not a specific person making a specific claim, but is instead a bunch of random people who've never even freaking talked to this person, who have their own agenda against that person and already didn't like that person, just saying that they're predatory or whatever to justify hating them and to justify harming their demographic. That is actually predatory. Those people are the predators.